You're listening to the Field Report for February 9th, 2017. I wanted to go over some things that I just found on the Facebook feed, but which, by the way, if you're looking for post updates and things like that, I'm just getting to the point where, with all the changes that are happening with the internet and have been, it's just very frustrating. I don't even like reposting stuff on Facebook. I got to find a social platform where I'm much more comfortable with it. I mean, we get much of our news from the Facebook feed, and I honestly I don't know that that's going to change much, but we'll still watch the updates and the feeds. But my main point to this is we're going to go over some things that I found on the Facebook feed, but I want to extend this out to people who have social feeds who really want to make some changes gradually or really quickly. Find a way where you can post your feeds to another social platform and get people off Facebook, because I think as long as Facebook and Google still have the design in which they do, as much as we hold strong beliefs about different, I don't know if you could call it search engines or such, but I mean, they're working together to make it hard to compromise. I mean, they're compromising a lot of people. A lot of people are very uncomfortable with going on Facebook, and I just was making this point on my profile page is I couldn't even post a song by Boston, More Than a Feeling, on my Facebook page because YouTube, of course, now owned by Google, okay, and the concern about the privacy matters and things like that. Like, if you have a personal back and forth with friends or family, you know, this metadata, how they collect the metadata and create a digital profile, you know, it might not matter to you right now, but at some point it does matter. So I went through this a couple nights ago. I'm just going to clean up a lot of the old posts, take a lot of my political stuff off, which is a lot of stuff, but I try to maintain these posts by doing these generic updates now, because I figured I'd rather just do the generic updates and forget trying to do all this fancy stuff and just kind of put the information out there. But I would be the first one to start cleaning up my page. Make sure you take off your personal photos that mean something to you. That might, for a lot of people, that might take some time, or maybe delete your page altogether. I mean, your safety and security is probably more important than you know, but and monitor what you post. Start getting to the point where, you know, you're not going to settle for this, because we all get comfortable. We all like to have casual conversations, but I would try to keep that to a limit. Put some limitations on yourself. If you and me and a lot of people start small. I mean, I'm not looking for major changes, but I think if you start with small groups that are ready to pull their stuff off, I would. I mean, to me, it's not I don't want to wager any more of this personal information out there. There's a lot of creepy stuff going on our social pages that we're not even aware of, okay? So I would take the extra steps. Remove your kids' pictures especially. It's getting a little too creepy out there. I mean, personally, I'm very uncomfortable with keeping pictures up of kids. You know, we can have fun and goof around, but then I think, what's this worth? Is this going to put me and any other or anybody else in danger? I mean, I of course, don't think like that every day, but we have to take the steps to be reassured of that our safety is the primary concern. You know what I mean? And in personal information, I would be very careful how much personal information I put out there. Monitor it. I think this is all review for a lot of you. I just want to put it out there because I'm not quite comfortable with putting stuff out there anymore. I haven't been for a long time. It's actually kind of awkward. I don't have a problem getting to know people, or personally, but I'm even cautious about that because I don't know where they're at with their safety and what measures are they taking. I'm going to take a lot more measures. And I encourage anybody that subscribes to my page to do that. I really do. I really do. I don't necessarily know what it is that you personally have to do, but if it means taking pictures off or watching how you share certain things, I mean, I just think it's something you should do anyway. You shouldn't have to wait till something happens and then do it. I'm just going to make that a standard here. So I'll do the generic updates. You can, follow me here at the YouTube link for the time being but I have started a Vimeo link, please. I'd rather bring that traffic over to the Vimeo page. At least I can take a little more caution to the things that I'm kind of concerned about. And I'm taking the steps to do that. That way, people have the Vimeo page to go to instead of going to YouTube alone. Okay, I am offering that as my way to take the right steps to change that and change the directory of where we post our info and updates. Okay, so back to this topic. I really wanted to comment on about this. If you look on, of all things, Facebook, and the Phil Report, you'll look at the page and some of the stuff I've been watching and reviewing. And one of them, of course, is the snow moon, the lunar eclipse, and Comet 45P, and this big Antarctic weather and abnormality, really. I mean, the temperature in the Antarctic is going to increase to 60 degrees. I mean, could you imagine what that's going to be like? Now, that'll be something for the global warming people to comment about, but I've been telling you guys for a while that these weather changes are not just global warming like they would like to call it. I mean, this is space weather affecting the weather on Earth. That's how I'd like you guys to think of along these lines. Because if you really pay attention to space weather, that's the space weather is causing the atmospheric changes that are, obviously changing what's going on in the stratosphere and then below on the Earth's surface. So please pay attention to that. Also, this celestial event, of course, starts today. I believe early this morning at 4:44 a.m. on Friday, that celestial event is going to occur. And, of course, I said the lunar eclipse after that and the comet. So you got 3 events happening within a 24-hour period. So it's going to be a very good weekend. Right before Valentine's Day, of course, which we might even add some things to that. But if you want to see any other updates, I'm going to do a special broadcast for Sweethearts. And I want to see what you guys think about some of the stuff that's going on out there. But I want to add to the last part of this, the reason I wanted to post this update, because I've been just kind of grazing across this. A lot of people look at the Statue of Liberty, that's a symbol of freedom. It's actually an idol. It was given to us by the French government. If you know anything about the history of the French Revolution, how they've had a lot of influence on America for obvious reasons. But this post was by Patriots United. A young man, well, not young, he's probably my age, which I don't know if you could call us young, like 46. Yeah, it might be young. And to some people, we're young, right? But I'm feeling it. But anyway, back to this post about the French government and the Bataclan, and also the shootings that occurred last year. I don't know, last year or a year ago? Yeah, about a year ago. When all those people had been out and the truck just rammed through the crowds. Please pay attention to what's going on with these liberal progressive groups that are supporting the migrants or immigrants, because what the liberal progressive groups that protest the immigration don't understand. This is not to be oppositional to you, okay? But I don't know how you could be this deceived. I mean, you're chanting to Allah at an anti-Trump rally. I'm so concerned for the average liberal that they've walked right into a trap. You really have. You're walking right into the sinister trap, and to legitimize Iran, to legitimize them as somehow that they look what they did. I mean, come on, people, wake up. I'm so concerned for the average American that believes that this immigration issue is some kind of, I don't want to say the word, what's the word? Noble cause. That's a horrible way to adopt a cause. I mean, you're turning on yourselves is really what's going to end up happening. That's what concerns me. Is the average American, I was looking at these faces of these girls, they were just like, it's like they were completely comatose or zombified by listening to the call to prayer. And no matter how something might sound, you have to get what's going on. And this post he elaborated about what they did to these French people. They were progressive people. These French and the people that were found in the Bataclan Theater, they were liberal progressives. They didn't report this, okay? Goodness gracious. That's why I say this is a trap. You know who the very people that are going to be attacked are the liberal progressives. They're going to turn on these people. And that's why people are frightened. It's like, well, I mean, I don't know. I've gotten to the point you can't convince the types of people out there, no matter what you think of me politically, okay? Forget that for a moment. Forget it. The political part is not the point to why we even put these posts up there. Why do we put these warning up there? To tell the same people over and over again, the ones that already know about this stuff? No. We put this up there for that person that might have that rude awakening. Do you have to wait till something like that happens that occurred in the Bataclan Theater in France? You know how they found these people? These were liberal progressive people who supported immigration. They couldn't even, the bodies were so badly tortured, they couldn't release these bodies back over to their families for burial. These were liberal progressive people that would support the same causes that we see that's going on out there in America. Those protesters, oh gosh, man. Now I think about the Statue of Liberty, and I think about what that represents. And if you really dig away and you find out the history, a symbol of freedom is one thing, but the Statue of Liberty means something to them in a total different way. Okay, you got to do your homework about the Statue of Liberty. What the big meaning behind that is. I mean, I have no problem. I would be totally comfortable if we removed all these statues. I mean, if you know the story about King Josiah, how he removed all the relics of that era. At that time, there were idols and statues. He removed all of them. He was a king, and a lot of people laugh at what Donald Trump would do. You know what would be real radical? This would change everything. Is removing the historical relics, and minimizing the statues and idols in America, because everybody makes comparisons to the obelisk, which is like the Washington Monument. I mean, it has a different historical meaning to us, but what it really represents is something different, for obvious reasons. If you follow a lot of the channels about the ley lines and how they built these relics, and I don't know if you get really into it. But people talk about extremes. I think Donald Trump, just from listening to his interview, he was kind of like, he was wowed at the walking into the White House. He's just like anybody else. He grew up in America. The White House has always been a place of historical importance. So, imagine he becomes the president and he walks in there, and he even stated himself, I've owned businesses, but still, I walk into that White House and it's an incredible place to walk into, and maybe to some degree, but just don't forget, it wasn't just that long ago. There was a lot of weird stuff going on there. You know what I mean? I hope when they decided to clean up the White House that they prayed over it too. My goodness. I pray for America. I pray for our people. I pray for our people not to be this naive. And when I think about the liberals, how naive they are, they think they're smarter than everybody, but they're simply naive. And the idea that somehow they twist the words around, and I was listening to the update about the confirmation of Attorney General Jeff Sessions, and how there were comments made to Senator Tim Scott about how he was an Uncle Tom. What's funny is that Tim Scott, he knows he's not. He's just as black as the next person. But I've heard things like this from my own roommate, who back in, a few years ago, she was half black, half white. And she was told by her black side of her family that she wasn't black enough. Now, this girl did nothing to deserve that comment. And, And the irony is that there's something called reverse racism, and it happens in America, and a lot of black families know this exists, okay? A lot of my friends have talked about it, and they've said, if you come to my home, oh, no, you don't bring that stuff up, okay? But we're going to bring it up here because it does exist. And that's what it's predicated on, okay? You're not black enough. I can honestly tell you, we can love the music we listen to. We can enjoy good rhythm and blues. We can all enjoy a lot of good music. But to sit here and make this about black and white, to me, is bothersome. And it just shows the prejudice that goes on, just not in white families, but in black families. It goes on in America. And unfortunately, it happened to my roommate who did not deserve that. That, and it shows you the irony in this. Do you know her dad, being as conservative as he was, because he was obviously the white side of her family, her dad and her family, being the white side of the family, received her never said those things, never would think to say those things. I can't even imagine you could talk to your own family like this, that you're not black enough. So those comments by certain people that say this to young black men and women, to say this to their own family, to me is bothersome. That's bothersome. And the fact that we have a media that likes to twist the words around. When I say media, I'm looking at MSNBC and some of those people that always spout off stuff about Black Lives Matter. When you wear those wristbands and Black Lives Matter, you better know what you're supporting, because you're not supporting Black Lives Matter per se. You're supporting a bigger agenda, okay? You're supporting something that is far different, and you're probably aware of that. I don't need to tell you that, but just for those naive people that don't know what they're supporting, when they're supporting these anarchists and anarchy groups, they're supporting George Soros. And if they don't know what they're supporting, I wouldn't be wearing I wouldn't be putting any kind of bracelets or those rubber bands that say Black Lives Matter. It's foolish, and it goes back to the same story that we were referring to about Bataclan Theater. Get your education. Listen, you might not even, to you, this post might be totally irrelevant, but it'll be relevant to that person that might need to better understand this topic. And if you can't understand it, do your homework. And we can't hold your hand. We can't make you believe what we believe. I'm not here to convince you anymore. I just like to comment on about it. And I can't convince those people. This is all refresher for some of us. But it's just stunning how angry and hardened people have gotten. They stop caring. They stop caring about each other. They stop talking about the truth. The truth matters. The truth is what's going to change things. So looking at what else is going on with the Department of Education, that has to change. We might not be able to fix everything, but if we could do something little on a smaller level, you got to start small. That's the truth. You might not be able to convince everybody. If you could at least get together or talk to 2 people, yeah, and you've already changed the opinions of other people, which I think that's important. You have to talk about the facts. The facts matter. If you do your homework and you look at the historical importance to this and you get some background and you apply it to what's going on, it's a lot easier to feel comfortable making a better decision based on what you're seeing out there. Because my great concern is, can we warn these people in time enough to step away from this and think this through. Think how you feel about politics, no matter how likable something seems. You got to know that it's important that facts matter. You know what I mean? And that's being smudged from you. That's being taken from you. I'm not taking it from you. I'm telling you it's being taken from you. And it's the difference of what could have happened in that Bataclan Theater to those liberal progressives that supported issues like this. They were in horrible condition when the police threw up. God, man, I wish we could wake up those liberal progressives. I doubt I can. I doubt that I can do that. They have to be convinced of it themselves. I could give you all the facts every day. I could give you all the information. I could post up on Facebook 25 different times. It is irrelevant. It is. It's not up to me to convince people. And I'm getting to the point, it's not important for me to convince. I just reassure those people that they're going to have to do their homework. We can't hold their hand anymore. We can't. I can't tell you enough. I can't post these updates enough. how important this information, these updates are. Okay? Not my updates, but just do your homework. I mean, if I never did a post after this, which I'm not sure that's the case, but I mean, if I never did a post, that I hope that this post of all posts is something that gets to the person who's not really educated on the facts. The facts, not the topics, the facts. The topics, one thing, the facts are another. And they're going to have to get their facts straight. They really do. Because I'm not convinced that the Black Lives Matter protest is going to change that, and it won't change it. Because the facts are, there's prejudice on both sides. And that's the truth. There's prejudice, and it's obvious. And anyone that's foolish enough to argue that, then they're not telling their facts, they're only telling you what they think is important. The facts are obvious. Okay, there's prejudice on all sides of these issues. And to think that that's a smokescreen from the real important things like getting food on your table, getting groceries, and getting your rent paid. Those things matter over these social topics. They want to make these social topics important, but that's how they keep young people political. And to me, the more important thing is getting a job, working, and taking care of business at home, making sure things get done. Because the social issues, it's not going to get you. I doubt it's going to take care of your things at home. Okay, that's the point. Well, it maybe. I mean, I don't want to completely throw that would actually, based on facts, that by today's standards, that's not true. Because there's actually people that are protesters are paid to do that, so they actually pay their bills with that. Which to me is another whole story in itself, but I need to end this post here. If I never did a post after this, I hope people do their own homework and do their own research. We did this to help out from time to time. I never got paid a dime to do this, by the way. I don't monetize my sites, by the way. You can subscribe, you can share and click, whatever. Doesn't matter to me because I don't make money off this. But we are going to be watching these updates. We are going to follow from time to time. I'm not going to make I cannot put myself in a quagmire anymore with this Facebook stuff. It's getting to the point, I'm annoyed to the point I don't really want to bother with it. If anybody has any input about a new social platform, please let me know. I'm curious. I'm curious if there's other social platforms where, your information doesn't compromise or it's not as complicated. I think a lot of people are just a little tired of this, so I'll put it on another social platform. I'll have to start all over, but I'm not sure that I want to do that either. But I'm not comfortable with where this is going. Please follow the Vimeo link though, because if you want to subscribe there, I'm going to put these updates there at Vimeo too. I need to start doing something to change this. Thank you for listening.